Well, hello all. Alright, well, my last video we talked about nuclear power and why it wasn't a feasible source of electricity or any other use at this time. There was a discussion on that between Dan and Donna, and I wanted to chime in of what my thoughts were. Now, Donna said that there is no such thing as nuclear waste. Well, that's sort of true in a way, because that waste that they're throwing away still has plenty of uses. It's just that we don't have the knowledge to use that for anything of any use. So because of that, we don't use it in its proper way. We just make steam and turn turbines. But so I think that the damage to the landscape, getting the uranium, building all these very expensive reactors, and not getting all that much power from it for all the damage that nuclear does. Then you do have the real waste that we call waste at this time. We have to put it somewhere, and everywhere we put it is a bad thing, because if we put it underground and we leave it there, within 300 or 400 years somebody will drill into it who may not even know about radiation and end up poisoning themselves and getting it all over the land. So there's no place to put nuclear waste, but I do have alternatives to nuclear. Let's go over to the board, as our lighting looks like it's about to fail. We had a 3.4 earthquake last night. Maybe that has something to do with it. As you know, I love alternatives. So here is a schematic of a modern skyscraper. This could be as big as it needs to be. And this is an underground supply of water, which is below, down in this area somewhere, is below this building, so that this water is below that water. So the way that a Pelton wheel works is that you take some water under pressure and you squirt it, and the wheel turns and generates 500 watts. Now this is off-the-shelf technology you can get at this very moment. So if you somehow can get this water up to this water in a continuous cycle, so the water is going up and the water is coming back, making it a completely clean system of generating electricity. Now, and you can scale this up to whatever size you need to generate enough power. The problem is getting the water from here up to here. How do we do that? Now, we could put solar panels on the side of the buildings and on the roof, and windmills up in the air that could make enough electricity to pump the water in from here up to there. But then you have the problem of making the solar cells, which takes fossil fuels, and fossil fuels put CO2 into the atmosphere and cause global climate change, along with all the other ways that we have generating electricity, other than water power. Water power is continuous, renewable, it's always there. You can use any kind of water. It could be wastewater, it doesn't matter. The propellers don't care. You could use this water as an alternative drinking water, and the reservoir underground could actually have a beach, and you could use it for swimming. There's all kinds of reasons you would want a system like this. It's just how to get the water from here to here. You could even, if you really wanted to make a crime something bad, you could have prisoners either on a bicycle making electricity or walking water up and down, and have prisoners bring water up. See, the fossil fuel industry is exactly the same way. Fossil fuels, wonderful. Look at all what we can do with it. That's true. Fossil fuels is the most efficient way of making electricity and making power, so you can get around and do things. But the byproduct makes it impossible to use, or you're going to wipe out the planet Earth. The same with nuclear. You can't use it because of the radioactive waste and the problem with humans not knowing what to do, converting that waste from waste into electricity or into something else that's usable. And then we could use nuclear power. But at present, we can't use nuclear power. We can't use fossil fuel at all. All we can use is solar, wind, and water. And to make enough electricity to make the steel and the solar panels, well, that's a whole nother problem, isn't it? But that's my thoughts on the whole thing. I appreciate the discussion on that video. Link down below so you can go and get into the discussion as well. I appreciate links as proof of what you're saying. That really works well. So, the technology I just showed you, the pellet wheel, has been around since 1860. So it's not like we need to invent anything. All we have to do is figure out how to get the water from down low to up high. And the rest is so simple and straightforward, it couldn't be easier. And what's the pollution that comes out of it? The making of the solar panels and the construction of all the equipment. It's not free and clear either, is it? In fact, humans couldn't exist unless they did put out pollution. They have to put out pollution. To turn something into power means there's heat loss, and that also can be considered pollution. I would certainly love to hear on this New Year's Eve what you think about the pellet wheel idea of making electricity. And one other thing, we have to get more efficient with what we use. So we use a lot less electricity so it's not such a burden to make it in the first place. And until next time.